Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. I have a topic for you today. Reading through your letters, I've decided to make another video about surviving the challenge of long distance relationship. And this particular video is about surviving long distance when things are hard, when circumstances are tough, and you have some undefined um, situations when you do not know what the outcome will be, how long things will take, and how do you manage through unknown, how do you keep a relationship alive, and all of this. And let's make it today more of a discussion. I will share a few points, and if you have your experience, or you have your vision, or you just been through something like that, and you have something valuable to share with everyone, don't hesitate and put it in a comment, so I will refer to it and read it a little bit later. So there is definitely a reason why I call it survive, because that is a challenge. And it is a challenging, a difficult, a complex, emotional situation. It's a difficult time when you need to make it through without somebody you love, without somebody you want to be with, through every day, not be able to be like a regular couple that's usually take things like this for granted. When people live together to begin with, or they live in close by, or they live in a similar town, same town or close, that appreciation of being available for each other in terms of geography, people usually don't think about it. They enjoy the benefit of it, but they don't think how lucky they are to live so close to each other. And of course, those people who do not have that luxury of being able to see each other that often definitely have appreciation for it, right? It's hard not to. And when you have a visit for a week, for a couple days, whatever it is, it's a lot harder. So I want to just say hi to everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? I wonder if my mic is working well. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bob, Patrick. Hello, hello from Puerto Rico. Um, okay, great. Hello, John. Good to see you too. Hello, Ron. Everybody, welcome. So, I know a lot of you guys are currently in a long distance relationship, so feel free to contribute. Um, Feel free to share your experience, your challenges, so we can discuss and talk about this. So, first of all, I want to make um, my points and few insights on this, and then we can just have a little bit more of a discussion. So, one of the most important things is to have plans. Even though today we're talking about circumstance that maybe your fiance or your lady has elderly parents and they are sick, or one of them is sick or in a hospital, and you don't know, is this a couple weeks situation, is it gonna be going for a couple years, and maybe she cannot leave. You guys know that in Ukrainian culture you usually do not leave your elderly parents. It's something installed in our culture that you take care of your elderly. Your parents take care of you when you're little. You know, they have their challenges to raise you to, you know, if you're a parent, you know what it is. You know what it costs. In all the ways to raise a child. So basically, it's a circle of life thing. So when your parents get old, um, You're supposed to take care of them. So that's one of the circumstances that I received in a letter from one of my subscribers, and he was just, how do I deal with this? He was asking, how do I not lose? How do we keep in touch? How do we plan anything if she has ongoing situation and she doesn't know whether this situation will be resolved and when and how? So I would suggest in this situation have several scenarios. Just simply having several scenarios of possible situations and what you will do. For example, one scenario is, what if that condition is permanent? So how are we able to? Am I able to move to Ukraine? Can I go over there to visit? Could we hire somebody to help her? So maybe we could work on K1 visa so she could visit here. Would financial help actually help? Because you will be surprised, but in this case, I mean, it seems like finance helps with everything, but in this case, sometimes they are not crucial, because if she cannot allow herself to leave her parent, it doesn't matter if you support her financially. If she cannot leave her parent was unknown person, she won't be able to make a move. It's a mental thing, it's an emotional thing, where you would not leave a sick child even if somebody pay for a babysitter. If you know you need to leave, sometimes you have to cancel your plans. And once again, guys, I've always tried to explain you that in Ukraine, um, the family connection, the family ties are still a lot stronger than um, in US. In US, a lot of times when you have elderly parents, as far as I understand, there are options, especially for people who thought about it earlier. Maybe you have insurance to be in a nursing home, to be assisted living. Um, you have these options, and in some ways it's good for the children because they don't have to suffer, because sometimes things are becoming very difficult, and maybe you are a young mother and you cannot take care of your parents because you have a newborn. Maybe you live in another state, so it's nice to have options. But I think Ukrainian culture, maybe like Hispanic culture or Italian culture, it's sort of the important thing to take care of your elderly. So that's one of the scenarios. You just gotta consider several things, several ways the thing could go, and make plan A, plan B, and plan C. And plan C. This way, she realized that you're serious, that you're not just gonna flake out, and that you not gonna give up even if things are difficult. The circumstances can be unknown for other reasons as well. So if you can come out with several solutions for several scenarios, first of all, she's going to see you as a problem solver and as a person that do not just give up easily, because it's very easy to just give up on things um, and say, oh well, it didn't work out. Ukrainian women are extremely attentive to those things, because whether they realizing that or not, it could be even a subconscious thing, but the way the man as a leader can handle a difficult, challenging situation. It would be a lot easier if that would be just a financial question. It would be a lot easier. But here, it's emotions, it's responsibility, it's your dignity, everything. So I am sharing this because I know a lot of you who will be watching do not have this problem here. Maybe you have your parents in assisted living already. When I was 16, I was watching my grandma, I was going to school, and for 2 years, I was watching my grandmother, and it was very difficult because I think she was getting some kind of dementia. She was losing track of time, and it was difficult. It was very hard to even go out, see friends, or just being a 16-year-old, just being a teenager, want to go, have some time with friends, because unless my dad was at home, I had to be there and watch her. So this is a huge responsibility. And the thing about elderly parents and elderly people in general, that with kids, things are often challenging. Things can be very difficult with kids, but with kids, it's a beginning of life. It's hope, it's future, it's excitement. Even if your kids are super hyperactive, if you don't sleep through the night, you still know why you're doing this, and that's your future. you know, there is hope. When you watch elderly people, you perfectly understand that where is this all going, and it's a circle of life, but it's not nearly as uplifting. They actually made an incredible thing. I forgot what country that is, but it's somewhere, I believe it was in Europe, but I'm not sure. They made an incredible experiment. They connected the elderly people, the like nursing home or assisted living, with small kids, with like daycare or active kids. And they connected them together. Like, I think certain times of the days they would spend time together. And that video I personally could not watch without tears, because when many people, when they get older, they become kids again. And kids, the actual kids, love attention. So uh, there are some people in this world that create such an amazing solution where the elderly can meet young kids, small kids, and just have a greatest time. So I think we probably could be implementing some of that, because I've been several times in my life to the nurse, not nursing care, I forgot, nursing home, and let me tell you, it's not very uplifting. So, and this is one of the reasons why in our culture it's still considered, if you bring a parent to a nursing home, it's like you throwing them like trash, in a way. Even though it's not exactly so, and some nursing homes are better than others, but in Ukraine, as far as I know, nursing home and things like that are not truly developed. So that's often not an option. Really going into depth on this case, but many of you gonna be going through similar case. If your parents are younger, you have a lot easier situation. Even if she is the only daughter, this is where you need to consider of helping financially her parents. You figure out how you do it, what the circumstances are. But if they're in a good health, it's just something you have to do, because their daughter won't be there every day to support them, to uplift them, and to help them. So if you love your fiance, if you love your wife, it shouldn't be an issue. And you also know the dollar goes far in Ukraine. So this is the one circumstance when it depends on somebody who is sick, and you don't know what's going to happen. So you have to talk about these scenarios with your lady, and just let her know that you're not gonna give up and you're gonna figure it out. There is nothing else in the world as when the man says, I got you, we're just gonna do it this way. There is no competition, no power struggle. When you have your initiative and you take the heavy items off his shoulders, she will be endlessly grateful, especially when it's in a vulnerable situation, when Maybe she's worried that she's about to lose her parents, or whatever circumstance it is. When she's going through pain, if you connect with her and support her at that moment of pain, I believe it's most incredible bond that can ever happen. Especially, in our classic traditional style society and mentality, over in Eastern Europe. Let me read your comments. I see some really, really good comments here. So, Ron is saying taking care of your parents is a priority with my girl. Okay. John is saying elderly parents are probably the biggest concern. She's an only child and they're elderly and could need more help. I'm hopeful we can hire someone and help financially and visit frequently. Yes, if you hire somebody, you need to be sure that that is a reliable source, because guys, that you have to understand that business in Ukraine is a new thing. It's If business was in US sort of from the day one, in Ukraine the business is like what, 20 years, 28 years old. So consider that. You have to find a reliable source, and this is not impossible. Maybe they have a relative, maybe somebody in the building could do that. That's something to work on, but life still continues. Your parents would not want her to suffer. I can share a little bit from my story. I'm really proud of my dad because, almost fell down. My dad is older, like seriously older. Not gonna, not gonna say how old he is, but everybody thought that he was my grandpa when I was growing up. But he's actually my dad. And when I was living, it was very, very difficult. Even though we have other children in the family, but I am just really the one. It's a long story, but it was very, very hard to leave. And I'm really proud of my dad for not trying to make obstacle, not trying to put me in a situation of guilt. He wasn't sick, but he has some health issues. I mean, even 10 years back. And he was just happy. He wanted me to have a family and he wanted me to pursue that. And it was very painful. We talk every Sunday, and always looking forward to seeing each other. And it is a very emotional and very, very difficult decision to change your country when somebody who depends on you in some way or counts on you as a parent, it's one of the toughest decisions you ever make. But if your parents are wise, they understand. They want the best for her. They don't want her to be unhappy, to be lonely, because in a perfect world, it's for the most people, not for all, but for the most people, love and connection and family is very important. So as long as you can get along, there is always a solution. If my dad would taken me on a guilt trip and would make me feel terrible, I maybe wouldn't have done it, and a lot of great things would not have had happened. So you gotta hope for the wisdom, and usually there is, even if she has, your fiance is the only child, a lot of times there are some relatives and some people that, as long as they are honest and reliable, a lot of people are making for ways to make money, and taking care of somebody is a great way to make money, as long as they are reliable source and they are naturally empathetic and good caregivers. You have another option. If your parents are not too old, you can actually bring them here if you can afford it. That's the main thing. If you have insurance, if you have all those things, do you know that about 70% of my friends here in US who are, from post-USSR countries, I would say about 70% of them have their parents here. Like, this is, to me, that is like an absolute luxury. I cannot even imagine. Um, I cannot even imagine how awesome that would be, have your parents here, or, have your sister or your close friends here. That would be just incredible. But, my husband could not afford that, number one. Number two, my dad isn't into travels, so it would be very hard for him to adjust to that, probably. And my mother has other children and grandchildren, so that would be unfair to them. And when it comes to visitations, uh, you always think, okay, maybe you should invite your mom or your dad, if they're capable to make it through the flight. But a lot of times, if you look at the tickets cost, of the airfare cost, so if you fly, you pay for your and your fiance's airfare, and you can see the whole family and friends. If you just fly the mother or father, they come, and of course it's just them, and maybe you have more family members and you cannot see them. So it really depends on your situation. Everybody has totally different circumstance. Wow, I'm really going into depth on this one today, guys. Let me read some more comments. Oh, it's getting so dark, so I'm gonna be in the darkness today. John is saying, yes, exactly. I told her that her parents might want their daughter to be happy more than they want her at their home. I know that's how I am with my grown daughters. Yes, your children do not belong to you. You have to realize that they are their own person, they do not belong to you, but yet, you feel responsible. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. John is saying, I talk to parents to bringing them over here for a few months each year, maybe on a cruise ship because they can't fly. That is a wonderful solution, if you can do that, if you can, first of all, they won't have to fly because that would be a cruise ship. And um, secondly, seeing them for a couple months each year is incredible. I have a lot of friends that having their parents come in to stay 3 to 6 months, and let me tell you, Ukrainian parents, it's a different kind of parent, because if you have kids, they actually help you with kids. They sometimes almost too much, because they start cooking like you're about to die from starvation, and they trying to you know and then trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So, but seriously, they do help you. Well, first of all, they're probably a lot younger than your parents. Let's face it. Number one, and number two is, in Ukraine, people just help you more with, if you have children. They just really involved with that, and you can have dates. I have a friend right now. Her parents are visiting, and she's finally with her husband on a dates, and they taking a trip, and the parents are here, and I can just feel her happiness and excitement because she finally can be a wife and a woman. Oops, I'm falling down, and not just a mother. So if they are in a better shape and they're able to help, that is also wonderful. Okay, but let's come back a little bit to the original um, topic. So basically, yes, you have to have plans, you have to have vision. You know, without vision, people perish. You have to have ideas, vision, and remember, guys, I always encourage you to be the leader, to take initiative in your hands. If she has to ask you, oh my God, you know, what's gonna be like, oh my gosh, and you can't reassure her, first of all, she shouldn't even ask. She shouldn't even be scared. You should be the ones that say, hey, I got you. It's all good. These things we're gonna do. A, B, C, D. So that is very important because when you do not have a certain date, a certain time, a certain plan for particular time, like 3 months from now we are doing this, 6 months from now we are doing that, her trust and her understanding of she might just think you are no longer interested and that it's just going nowhere. That is the reality. I know um, some of you maybe not used to take so much initiative, but with Slavic women, initiative is very, very important. They do not want to ask you, they hope that you understand. The other point, next point I would like to make is um, not everybody has a situation with elderly parents or anything else. Sometimes it's a careers thing, sometimes it's a long process with the documents or with the children, whatever that might be. So whatever reason you have that you kind of have to stay in long distance for a while, the most important thing for you is, regardless of the distance, to be part of your life in all the ways possible. In all the way possible, to be consistent part of your life. Emotionally, financially, mentally, spiritually, and list goes on. What do I mean by this? Because you cannot give the physical part, you cannot be there and actually help her and be part of her life, you have to almost compensate with the other things. You have to have times and days when you know you're gonna be talking, because 7-8 hour difference, it's a very big difference. You have to make sure that you talk, because despite of some people are saying, for women communication is extremely, extremely important. One of the reasons why sometimes women withdraw from relationships, because men just stop talking. Something bothering you, you kind of getting numb and you just stop talking to us. So, and especially with long distance, in some ways you have a chance to really get to know each other and to show that you're strong and persistent. You gotta keep talking. With financial issue is that you cannot be there, you cannot help, so she can hire help, she can live a little bit better life, and knowing that that is happening because of you. Because if you're not investing in her financially during all these times, and that is very important in Ukrainian culture, because if that man is yours, he sort of takes you off the market, but also in a way that you do not struggle, or you do not have to work 24-hour shifts, or you don't have to do some work where the other men are hitting on you and trying to, talking about sexual harassment. In United States, people have no idea what it is. I'm serious. Not in these late years. If you want to learn about sexual harassment, try to work in Ukraine in office full of men. I've heard it's better now, but that's a separate topic, and I can guarantee you don't want your woman to be around other men that would be happy to provide for her, and sometimes would insist on that. It's absolutely insane. When our men are into you, they just don't get no for an answer. So in some ways it is a true protection, because she doesn't have to go and risk her life. And I truly know what I'm talking about. I might, it could be a good video to talk about, what sexual harassment really is, especially when you're trying to do nothing but just go to work and, make money. It's just a nightmare. Um, Once again, I've heard it's been getting better and not as bad. Um, okay, I'm gonna change the subject for this one, but you do show that you protect her, that she doesn't need to struggle, because while she's waiting for you, she's saying no to everybody else. So if you're not supporting her, at some point you're gonna get very uncertain and she might change her plans, or she will simply be very miserable. If you claim in her, you have to treat her as you had claimed her. So once again, she does not, um, so she's sure and she builds her trust and she feels your support, even if she's an ocean away. Because once again, while she is committed to you, she tells no to everybody else who is physically around her and be happy to have her, and she won't need to suffer and miss somebody. So it's a big sacrifice. You probably say, well, it's a sacrifice for me too, but we all know that if you agree for long distance relationship, it's probably a special woman. It's probably a woman with a mindset and features and characteristics that you cannot easily meet here just everywhere. So if you know she's special, you have to treat her special, in a special way. All right, guys. That's my main points. I'm gonna look for a few comments here. Okay, I have some requests for the next videos. I will look them up later. Patrick is saying, I have found myself aware of my tendency to shut down when I don't want to talk. Thank goodness I opened up, because I believe it saved our relationship. So, believe me, it did save your relationship, because when you stop talking to us, for us, it means death. It's over. You had never loved us. You don't care. And it's over. That's how we read silence. Even if we're thinking about us the whole day or the whole time, we think it's over. And when you close up at the difficult moment, yes, sometimes you need to take some time off to just digest things. But if you keep being closed up, the whole reason why she wants to be with you, because she wants to connect with you. So if you closed up, you basically shut the door. So I'm very glad you had that vision and you changed that. John is saying, yes, I would like to hear more about sexual harassment in the office setting. Women's Day, she will get flowers and gifts from 9 men. Seems crazy if done here. Well, you see, sexual harassment is not when you get flowers. Sexual harassment is then when somebody is pressing you to have sex with them for no good reason. In US, it would be crazy. Yes, um, I don't consider a problem when somebody makes you a compliment and open the door for you or being a gentleman to you. It's a part of our culture. But unfortunately, there are some men that just, don't get no for an answer. And I can talk about this. I cannot talk about this because I've experienced that since I was, I don't know, 16 to ever till I came here to US. So it's just been, I thought that, it's so interesting. I thought that something is wrong with me. I thought that I was a problem. And why is it everybody else is okay and I always have these problems? It was absolutely, now I'm fine with it, but I had such a trauma and such a pain because I couldn't share with nobody about this. People looked at me funny. And Finally, I had to shut down and just I couldn't find a job without the extra offers. It was absolute nightmare. So once again, it did get better because people who hire actually starting to look more for professional. But still, once again, Ukrainian men very often do not get no for an answer, and I will make a separate video on this. So that is exactly why you need to support your woman, so she doesn't even consider a chance to have another guy, even if it's not sexual harassment, but it's another guys that admire her, that want her, that have time for her. So she would not consider him to be helping her when she knows she has you. She doesn't go out to meet people. She just enjoy her time. She spend time with her family. I'm gonna say this again. Back in time, my husband, when we decided that I'm coming here, he told me to stop working. And it wasn't like millions or thousands, but he was supporting me every month so I can spend time with my family, with my friends, and prepare the documents. There was no point of going to work when you only have 6 or 7 months left. And I am forever grateful for that thing that he did for me, because I was going through, I've never told him about this issue and men not understanding the boundaries, but he just knew. I've never told him that. But he just knew that he helped me to also emotionally escape all this madness. Sometimes when men attracted to you, they just see you in a wrong light. It's always a mystery. It's always a mystery for me, but that's another topic. So anyway, guys, that is more than I was going to share. I hope that is helpful. Um, um, I truly do hope that that is helpful and you can relate to it. Please feel free to share your experiences under the video. By the way, some of my longer videos like this gonna be partially or fully transferred to my Patreon account. So if you would like to become a Patreon member, check out, I don't know, Veronica Olson on Patreon, or just contact me, because in these longer videos I give so much detail and so much information, and they really take a big part of my day. But also sometimes there is a lot of private things, and I do not always want to have them running around YouTube. So you here, for the time you here, you can witness the whole story. But some of my videos gonna be shortened, and some of them, like the video I made yesterday, it's now on Patreon. It's not available on public on YouTube. That was the first long video when I talked about what was that? Yeah, we talked about not accepting children when Ukrainian women are not okay if you have children. So that's a 45-minute video. If you want to watch it and you're Patreon member, it's available. Okay. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to put the thumbs up, because it helps for more people to see that. There are not so many people who doing the same things. There are not so many people that specialize in international relationship, especially between Ukraine and US. So when you do that, you really help. And also when you comment under the video once the video is over, it helps as well. So thank you so much. Hey John, yes. Oh, thank you John so much. Okay, the comments go real quick. John is saying, thanks Veronica, all your advice tonight is so relevant right now for me. I am very happy to hear that. I actually remember your story, and I pray for you that things will work out. If you need my help, you know my email. You guys know how to find me. My email is under every video in the first comment, consultveronica@gmail.com. I am trying to get back. This is just a message from me. I am genuinely trying to get back and focus on helping others and get on the healing journey. Can't stay away for too long. So thank you and have a wonderful night, everyone.